You got nice color skin. What color would you say that is?
My color.
After Molly divorced Ernest, she lived with her new husband John Cobb on the reservation. She died of diabetes on June 16, 1937. Her obituary in the local paper simply said, Mrs. Molly Cobb, 50 years of age, passed away at 11 o'clock Wednesday night in her room. She was a full-blood Osage. She was buried in the old cemetery in Grey Horse beside her father, her mother, her sisters, and her daughter. There was no mention of the murders. Even as I'm making this video, my love and appreciation for Killers of the Flower Moon continue to grow. It is one of those movies that just grabs you, haunts you, and never lets go. I know many of you have mixed feelings about the movie, especially the fact that it is over 3 hours and 30 minutes. I've seen critics and audiences both appreciate the movie, but I think the general consensus is that it is neither Scorsese's best nor DiCaprio's. I'm not here to prove you wrong or change your mind, but I want to dissect this movie and how it breaks boundaries, and maybe, just maybe, you will find a deeper appreciation of the intention and story of this Scorsese epic. Before I dive in, if you like the video and if you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It will motivate me to work harder and create more videos about the one thing I love the most, movies. Now, I'm not one of those people who like defining what cinema is. For me, defining art is the very antithesis of what art truly means. Having said that, after watching Killers of the Flower Moon, I totally get what Scorsese is trying to convey. I won't define cinema, but I can say that Killers of the Flower Moon transcends cinema. It is more than just going to the theaters to have a good time. It is poignant, thought-provoking, and in my opinion, Scorsese's most personal and relevant movie he has ever made. There are many reasons why this movie has not left my mind since I watched it, but I'm going to narrow it down to 3 major reasons. Reason number 1, the ending. In the final moments of Killers of the Flower Moon, King Hale, Ernest, and their group face consequences for plotting against Osage citizens. However, instead of just telling us what happened to each character like we have seen in so many movies, this movie takes a surprising twist. It fast forwards years later, showing a live radio show performing the events we just saw. The show has exaggerated voices and a mostly white audience enjoying the performance. Different actors tell us what happened to Hale and Ernest. But when the turn came to Molly, Martin Scorsese himself stepped out and told us what happened. He explains that Molly divorced Ernest and later passed away from diabetes, and her obituary didn't mention the Osage murders. Ending the movie this way was unexpected, and I'm sure it caught many of us scratching our heads. Was it the right choice to end this movie this way? Some people may not like the ending. They might say it takes away from the strong feelings we have about the bad things that happened. But that's the point Scorsese is trying to make. The terrible things that happened were quickly forgotten, and when they were remembered, they were turned into mere entertainment. This choice by Scorsese is unexpected and makes us think about the movie and the true story it's based on. The movie shows us a sad and important event in a respectful way, but it's also a very expensive movie, having a budget of over $300 million, made by a tech company, Apple, written and directed by a white man, Martin Scorsese, and starring famous actors including Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. It has funny, serious, and exciting parts. Scorsese seems to know that some people will say the movie turned a serious event into entertainment, just like the radio show did. However, by the end of the movie, you feel suffocated by the events that took place. You feel like how Molly feels at the end of the movie: sick, uneasy, disgusted, and sad. It's a serious ending with a lot of emotion building up. While Scorsese breaks the fourth wall, in the end, this ending shows a different side of Martin Scorsese. He has been often accused of glorifying violence, although I never agreed with that criticism. But with Killers of the Flower Moon, he has done something magical, something different. He admits that he makes cinema that might not do justice to the people it represents. But I just want to commend him for making me feel for Molly, and I could not think of a better director to pay tribute to Molly, making this $300 million, 3.5-hour movie that will stay with me forever.
I wanted to do justice to the Osage so that the audience feels the immensity of the tragedy.
Reason number 2, Ernest and Molly's relationship. The relationship between the two main leads is the heart of Killers of the Flower Moon. In the end, the movie is a complex love story between Ernest and his wife Molly. In an interview, DiCaprio said, Ernest and Molly really represent how twisted and complex some of this stuff was, culturally. A lot of Osage women were marrying white men who really came to prey on them, to take over their head rights and seize their oil money. and yet at the same time, they loved each other. That was the twisted complexity of what made this a truly dark American story.
In our film, Ernest develops a relationship with Mollie Burkhart.
I don't know what she said, but it must have been Indian for handsome devil.
Scorsese has also discussed about the love story at the center of the film and spoke of whether he believed that their love was real. Leo DiCaprio and I were trying to figure out what to do with these characters. At one point he said, "Where's the heart of the story?" And I said, the heart of the story is Mollie and Ernest. This couple were really in love in reality. Really in love. It was really about how this love story develops and what love is. And a weak person like Leo's character Ernest, like Kichijiro in Silence, what did he think? That it was going to go away? Found that a great part of the love story is that he had something in him, Ernest, that admired and felt comfortable with the Osage culture. There was some decency there, but for whatever reasons, the weakness of the character is interesting to me. And so he's weak and he's dangerous, but there's still love there. And that's kind of disturbing, but at the same time, it's human. It's what we are. And so that's what I pursued with Leo and with Lily, who was very instrumental.
One of the key things was that it was drawn to this world, to where friendship and love existed with blatant extortion, exploitation, and murder.
When this money started coming, we should have known it came with something else.
The weakness of Ernest Scorsese spoke about is highlighted in the movie when Mollie gives Ernest the nickname Coyote early in their relationship. This nickname shows that she could sense certain traits in him right from the start. Her friend even points out that he is mainly interested in her money, which Mollie acknowledges. Despite this, she decides to marry him because she feels a real connection with him. By calling him Coyote, which has negative meanings of greed and deception in Native American culture, she subtly draws attention to these traits from the start. In Native American stories, the coyote represents greediness, trickery, and gluttony. While the coyote term itself isn't good or bad, it's associated with characters who might use deceit to get what they want. In Killers of the Flower Moon, Ernest's love for money is clear, as he talks about it openly in the movie. Mollie's nickname for him, Coyote, fits him well because he goes to great lengths to arrange the deaths of the Osage people to increase his wealth. The coyote can also represent someone who brings that, a role Ernest takes on by instructing others in town on who to kill and how to do it. Another characteristic of the coyote is foolishness. Ernest is easily influenced by those who have power over him, like his uncle, his lawyer, and the FBI. He gets played around a lot. This makes him very easy to manipulate. This brings me to the third major reason why I love the movie, which is also closely linked to the second reason.
The land had oil on it. Black gold. Money flows freely here now.
I do love that money, sir.
Reason number 3, the themes of greed, love, and betrayal. Through Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese wants to show how trust can be gravely betrayed within a loving relationship, leading to something as terrible as genocide. This is the essence he's trying to capture in the movie. As I have mentioned, to truly capture the themes of greed and love, and more importantly, the tragedy of the Osage Nation, Scorsese shifted the film's focus to Mollie and Ernest. The movie portrays a nation on the verge of devastation, mourning even as they benefit from the oil that gushed their land. They are aware that this newfound resource, along with the money and attention it brings, will hasten their own downfall. The Osage face being consumed and destroyed by a capitalist system that cares little for the true value and their land and their people. Ernest and those around him align themselves with capitalists and colonizers whose greed takes precedence over everything else, including love. Scorsese draws a connection between Ernest and a previous character, Jordan Belfort, from The Wolf of Wall Street, also known for his greed. In this movie, the dark underbelly of the American dream is laid bare. As the Osage face annihilation and their land is exploited, 2 other incidents are highlighted in the movie. The Tulsa Race Massacre unfolds in the distance, women are treated as property, and Ku Klux Klan marches down the main streets. It's a world of endless setbacks for a generation not yet born. The sins of the past will have consequences in the future.
I was drawn to the idea to tell this terribly tragic story that was never brought to national attention.
Marty obsessed with telling this story with the most honesty that he possibly could.
In the end, while Ernest might have loved his wife, he was willing to sacrifice his love and the lives of a whole community and sell their futures to the highest bidder. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, and many thanks for watching.